Welcome back into our NBA mock draft for the 2023 draft. Joining me now is Ed Oliver from Washington. As you can tell, he is Washingtoned out. We're now in kind of like that second half of the lottery. So now it gets like you could throw 100 dimes up into the air and I would not be able to tell you who it's going to land on, because now I think it gets less you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it gets less like best talent and more best fit at this point. But let's see. So Washington last year, 35 and 47. They got number 10 pick last year, Johnny Davis. And now they're building kind of around their star players, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, Porzingis. So is there a need for something specific, or do the Wizards still just go for the guy that they think is the best player?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. We have a new GM now, Will Dawkins and Michael Winger and Travis Schlenk, a new front office. They're typically known to take the best player available, but we do need a point guard pretty badly. We have Monte Morris, who's a solid point guard, but he's really a backup point guard at best, or rotational point guard. And we need a 3-and-D wing. We don't really have a 3 that can really knock down a 3 and defend out there. We do have Kuz, but he's somewhat of a 4 as well. So we really need, and we definitely use some shooters out there as well. We don't have a lot of movement shooters there. Corey Kispert is our best 3-point shooter, but we definitely need a point guard and a 3-and-D wing at the most, for the most part. But we really need a point guard that can get into the paint, and we need a good point of attack defender next to Bradley Beal.
Okay, well, that is interesting because there are still some guys on our board. There's a really good 3-and-D guy, I'm thinking. There is a guy who is a really good passer. So now my wheels are turning. Okay, so let's just cut to the chase then. Let's put you on the clock. Ed Oliver, drafting for the Washington Wizards. Who are you going to take?
Yeah, so we're going to take Anthony Black out of Arkansas. Had a great freshman season, about 6'5", 6'6", very long wingspan, very athletic, can play above the rim, is a great point guard. Will Dawkins was just hired as the GM. He drafted Josh Giddey. He's getting a lot of Josh Giddey comparisons. He's a guy that's a great passer, a great playmaker, and we need a guy that can get to the rim. He got to the free throw line a lot in college, so we need somebody that can put pressure on the rim and get to the basket and also get guys open. I can see him working really well with Porzingis pick and roll, doing the pick and roll, doing the pick and pop, getting Bradley Beal his spots for open threes, getting Kuzma set up. If Kuzma is back next year, in Kuzma set up for wide open threes as well. So I think Anthony Black would be a great young point guard prospect for the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, a really good comparison with Josh Giddey, because he's a guy who relies a lot on his skill rather than kind of his athleticism. He's a really good facilitator, this like natural guard who, I mean, could potentially play off ball too. Like if Monte Morris wanted to play the 1 and like mix it up a bit. Really good facilitator, pass first guy. I think it's a good point to say that he's not really someone who can be relied on as a key scorer. And yes, it's a number 8 pick and you want scoring, and he can score. I wouldn't say a key scorer necessarily in this rookie year, but he is someone who can make his teammates better because of how well he passes.
100%. He definitely made his guys better playing next to Nick Smith, who's going to be drafted not too far behind him, set the guys up for lobs. He's really good in transition on the fast break. Earlier in the season, he was good shooting the ball in the Maui Invitation. We see how aggressive he was, putting up 25-point games. So he is capable of scoring. The shooting is somewhat of a concern, but I think now with this new front office and scouting department and development department, I think they'll be able to help him become a good shooter. And like I brought up before with Will Dawkins, how they've done a great job with Josh Giddey, his comparison. Josh Giddey's been a great player his first 2 seasons, so I could definitely see that happening with Anthony Black playing next to Bradley Beal.
So Anthony Black, although he fits a positional need for the Wizards, is he still a top talent guy? Like, are you happy with the talent that he brings to Washington as well?
Oh, definitely. And he's a good defender too. He's a guy that gets a lot of steals. He's so disruptive. If you watch the NCAA tournament game, even though they got blown out in the last game, he was getting steals. You could see him just jump up literally in the air off inbound passes and getting deflection and getting steals. So the Wizards need defensive help for sure, but he is a talent coming in as a freshman. They need more, and they need taller guards, and he fits that bill. He basically checks all the boxes except for shooting.
All right, and that can be developed.
Yep.
Like you said, he's listed at 6'7", so maybe a little closer, but he is 195, and that is like a solid build for a 19-year-old coming into the league. Like he'll put on some pounds as he gets older. So the build, I mean, it's there for defensive like to be a really good defensive, potentially great defensive player. I like that pick. I'm happy with that. Are you happy with that?
I like it. I like it a lot. The
Good.
Wizards, yeah, definitely.
I like that pick. Ed, thank you so very much for coming on. I appreciate it so much. And when the actual draft happens, we'll have to see if you go 1 for 1 as a newcomer on the mock draft.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me on.